Welcome to Stock Markets with KR. If this is your first time here, then I'm KR. I talk about the markets and personal finance. So if that sounds like music to your ears, make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Anyway, today's agenda is talking about IPOs and more specifically IPOs as an investment method. So the reason why I thought I'd talk about this is because on one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in, someone happened to mention IPO and investing. So investing using IPOs. So I thought that that seems kind of not so good. And because of that, I thought that hey, might as well share my views on YouTube. We were talking about how they feel IPOs are a great way of investing, and I felt that not really the case according to me. And without any further ado, I'll just minimize myself. And we are greeted with IRCTC's chart, and you'll see why very shortly. So one of the first reasons why I am not really a fan of IPO investing is because of how little you know about the company, not the financials. In the prospectus and in the disclosures and everything, they have to share the financials. So you have the financials. You don't have the past year financials, but you can still obtain them. But that's not why I dislike IPOs. Now the thing is, for someone like me, who's more into these shorter term trades and shorter term positions, knowing what the market's perception of a stock is very important. So for instance, IRCTC might have extremely nice financials, which it I think did, and IRCTC is a monopoly, in case you did not know, because they have the major control over the Indian rail network. So that also looked good. And the stock price did reflect that. We can see it did quite strong initially, but then it flattened out. This is the daily chart, by the way. So, the thing is, initially from here to here, this jump was great. Everyone was celebrating, but then when this period came, this is where someone would have really been like, wow, IRCTC is consolidating. Let me have a closer look at it, and perhaps at this breakout or something you could have gone long it. Now the reason why I say this is because once it was listed, I think 14th October 2019, so after a couple of months, how the stock behaves. Even on the intraday charts, you can see what it's like. What are the spreads like? Does it seem to be operator driven? And what the general sort of outlook looks like. So once that's done, then you can look into investing in that stock, or trading that stock. Trading, by the way, I don't mean intraday, I mean it as a swing thing. So for instance, let's say you buy today, you sell it after a couple of weeks, and so on. So only once you know the market's perception of that stock, you can really say that this is a good stock, ki nahi wo thoda kharab hai, not really working that nicely. So that's one of the key reasons, because you don't know, you just don't have that prior information. For instance, here if I look at Reliance, which is a very hot stock these days, you can see, we can see that theek hai, Reliance ka aisa past mein it has performed well. It's just ki idhar thoda it is consolidating. This also, by the way, I have shared it on my Twitter, that we can see it's like forming this really nice triangle. So Reliance could also do something nice, but anyway, I digress. So the point is ki we just don't know enough about a stock's prior history of prices, not financials, because financials to pata hai, like we can just Google and we'll get to know what are the financials like. There are several websites that give us that, but we'll never understand what the market's perception of that stock is, and that is very important for me. Now another chart we'll look at is SBI Cards, and we'll see why it's very important. Now let's say I believe SBI Cards was also a very hot IPO when it had first been announced. Timing was very bad, but still it was a hot IPO nonetheless. So we can see that initially in the first couple of months, it really did very poorly. We can see that it went from a high of around 750 to a low of just under 500, which is very terrible, right? And after that, it's been consistent. We can see that it's on a very good uptrend. इधर थोड़ा problem हो गया है लगता है, but still overall, it's a good uptrend. Now, the thing is, let's say you were to spot it at this level. We can see there's a support around here. Let's say you were to spot it at that level, or let's say you caught one of these pullbacks. Then you could have made a more informed decision. क्योंकि इधर you would have been like, हाँ ठीक है, it's a good stock. Many people are talking nice things about it, but I don't know what the market is really feeling about it. But here, कि yes, it has potential to go up, and what the markets, what the stocks moves are in the market. Again, very similar to IRCTC. burgerking IPO, again, great example. Let's say you were in on it, I think 50-60 rupees. I wasn't, by the way, unfortunately. But let's say you were in on it. इधर तक बहुत अच्छा चला, but after that, we can see that it's almost retraced 50%. In fact, if I do a very quick retracement, I'm sure it has to be around 50%, right? It's in fact below 50% at this point. We can see it. Okay, it's not letting me do this. That's fine. We can see that it's below 50%. So again, burgerking, another great example. Chala to chala, nahi chala to nahi chala. It's like a lottery ticket sometimes. Ki you put in 15,000, which is one lot ka bid, and you hope that if you get in, then you hope that the price goes up. If you don't, then you don't have to worry. If the price comes down, then also there is a chance it may come up. Now, angel broking is the best example. I think it opened at a discount. It continued going down, and then we can see that it's never really, come close to those levels, which is great. Now, another IPO, very hotly anticipated and, very, very well regarded, and this is at a time where chemicals as a sector was doing very well. And despite that, we can see that it's gone from 750 or so to half that. I think it made a low of half that, just under half that, which is crazy, right? This is a daily candle. In one day, it was down so much. And that just goes to show that it can be a risky business, angel broking. Now, Root Mobile, I think this was a relatively mixed views on this one, fairly positive, and we can see upar gaya, niche aaya. So, if you're willing to go for it, you can go for it around this level also. Let's say it consolidated here, idhar thoda upar ja raha hai, you can go long on it. And, if you were to get in, then idhar se idhar tak and idhar se idhar tak is roughly the same distance. And it's in fact better because the risk that you would have taken around this level would have been better. You know what you're getting into as opposed to something else. Now, Rossari Biotech, also another hotly anticipated stock. This is a stock that I don't think I would like to get in even now. And that is because we can see how wild the candles are moving. This week, itna bada. Not just something I like. And had I, subscribed to this IPO, I would have not known that the prices are moving like this, which means that I would have not, really understood what I'm getting myself into. So again, very important. Gland Pharma performed well. Again, lottery ticket jaisa. Mazgaon Dock, we can see it's moving all in all sorts of directions. So not really a stock that I would personally like to go for. For instance, closed here, opened here, went up, just dancing around. This is Happiest Minds, underperforming right now. Very hotly anticipated IPO, underperformed. We really don't know. For instance, this is at a time, right around here is at a time where IT is doing very well. Especially here, September around, I think IT was outperforming the broad market. And despite that, this IPO underperformed. Not really a bad thing for the company. I think the company's fundamentals are good. But on the market, it's not reflecting. Now, people just don't want to buy it. And if people don't want to buy it, you can't expect the prices to go up. So again, important thing, Mindspace REIT doing good, very choppy. I would personally not enter. CAM's doing great. This is purely because of a news-based event. I think it's because of the SEBI speculation that they'll be increasing institutional holding limit or something. And we have another stock, yeah, we have UTI AMC. Again, very big candles, not ideal. Now, I also have another thing I wanted to talk about. Article by Bloomberg Quint, I'll link this in the description. And this talks about all this, basically ki how it started, and then after listing, फिर कैसा चला IPO. So that's also an important thing. So this chart is also there. This table is also there. Very interesting one. So yeah, I mean, those are my views on IPOs as an investment mechanism of sorts. I feel there are great opportunities sometimes. For instance, I think Wipro IPOs and such were fantastic. But then it's not like IPOs are your only way to get in that stock, right? Once you see how it's moving like, you can understand and see there are certain exceptions to it. For instance, some IPOs like IRCTC, for instance, they are great because government company, it's not going to tank completely because it's a strong proven company, you know of it, you've heard of it. But when you talk about companies that no one's heard of, and then that's where the problem starts. For instance, another sort of good part about IPOs, potentially good part about IPOs, is that typically these stocks list at a discount. So for instance, if you see Mrs. Bector Foods, that's listing at a discount compared to Britannia and such. But then again, for that discount, you still have that risk of that stock underperforming compared to Britannia. So again, it's a double-edged sword, as you say. And whether it's a wise decision or not to invest using IPOs and to subscribe for IPOs, it's completely subjective. I personally don't do it that much. I'm not like, theek hai, IPO aaya, let's subscribe. At the same time, if the company looks good, I can try it. It's just 15,000 at the end of the day, which is not that bad as of an amount compared to actually investing a huge chunk. So yeah, those were my views. I'm very curious to know what you feel about investing in IPOs. So make sure that you drop your views in the comments and let's have a nice discussion about it. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope that you liked it. And if you did, again, like button and make sure that you're subscribed. That's all for this one. Happy trading, happy investing, happy IPOing.